The coconut crab strikes with tremendous force, plunging straight into the red crab's body. In an instant, bodily fluids pour out from the wound, every year in October and November. As the monsoon winds and humidity rise, on Christmas Island, Australia, tens of millions of red crabs emerge from the forest and migrate toward the coastline in a chaotic swarm. They have been waiting underground for months for the rain. Now that the air is humid enough, they can finally come out and breathe. Fully mobilized, the red crabs surge forward like a tide, in staggering numbers. This is the largest animal migration on Earth. 50 million red crabs marching in an almost magical procession. Like a flowing red waterfall, weaving across the forest floor, during the long migration journey, the famished red crabs, driven by hunger, will indiscriminately consume fallen leaves on the ground, fruits, insects and carrion. Everything in their path gets swept clean. This one hungry coconut crab even set its sights on our cameraman. It latched onto his camera and went straight for the lens cover, instantly exposing a cluster of metal components inside. He was caught off guard, and quickly let go with all 6 large claws. During the migration, many coconut crabs perish for various reasons. And the coconut crab is the first major obstacle they must face. As the largest land-dwelling crab on Earth, the coconut crab can grow up to a meter in length and weigh up to 3 kilograms. Its powerful, sturdy claws can easily snap off a human finger, and can even use bare claws to crack open a hard coconut shell. For a red crab no bigger than a fist, the coconut crab is nothing short of a monster. Once caught by a coconut crab, there is virtually no chance of survival. But sometimes the most dangerous place is the safest, to avoid being crushed by the coconut crab. This red crab squeezed itself right underneath the coconut crab's body. Sure enough, this spot worked perfectly. It managed to escape. After losing some of their fellow travelers, the remaining crabs are about to face an even greater danger. Cars speed across the road, producing a series of loud crunching sounds, because the crabs have very poor eyesight. Over the past 20 years, most of the crabs have been crushed under car wheels. Spotting their flattened companion, a crab approaches and covers its eyes in a moment of mourning. Then, involuntarily, tears begin to flow from the corners of its mouth. Eating your own brother with your own claws, yet somehow doing it with a clear conscience, and swallowing without a second thought. Because there are so many red crabs, seriously disrupting local traffic, volunteers can only show up every day with brooms, sweeping them aside, to help the crabs cross the road as quickly as possible. Right now, the local government has even built dedicated pedestrian bridges and underpasses for the red crabs, to ensure they can pass through safely. In a race to catch the high tide, the red crabs picked up their pace. After countless hardships, the great crab army finally reached the long-awaited shoreline. Each female crab carries nearly 100,000 eggs. When the tide comes in, the female crabs shake their bodies, through a bouncing, rhythmic motion, to release the eggs out of their bodies. In total, trillions of eggs are released into the ocean. Soon the beach becomes covered in a sea of red. This is not seaweed, but rather newly hatched baby red crabs, washed back to shore by the waves, each one no bigger than the head of a pin. Countless tiny crabs are packed together on the coral reef, driving the local residents absolutely crazy. Each red crab has a different spawning cycle. Some red crabs have babies that are already old enough to fend for themselves, while others are just beginning to lay their eggs. So sometimes on the return journey, the baby crabs will run into red crab mothers still heading out to spawn. You might think that the red crab mothers would be overcome with maternal instinct and help their young find their way back home. But almost every single mother crab will do this instead, stuffing the baby crabs into her mouth one bite after another, just like eating popcorn. Even more terrifying is, some mother crabs eat their young, while simultaneously giving birth to more. This kind of behavior is actually not that uncommon. When a red crab mother is starving, even her own offspring will be devoured without a moment's hesitation. So, when you see the tiny red crabs charging forward with everything they've got, don't be surprised by their fierce will to survive, because if they fall even a little behind, their own mother will eat them to replenish her strength. Fortunately, most of the baby red crabs do make it safely to the forest and spend the next 5 years growing up in seclusion. 5 years later, they will set out on their own journey back to the ocean and spawn their own offspring there.